So this is an Expedition, and the back brakes were soft. So I checked the back brakes, and this is the thickness of them. They're worn slightly unevenly. I've never taken brakes off before from one of these, so I don't know if that's normal or not, but it's thicker on this end over here than on this side, and I think that's with both pads. So the handle, the brake lever was squeezing all the way into the grips, almost as though there were no brakes at all, and it was barely stopping. And this does have hydraulic brakes. The front was okay, and they're worn also, but not quite as much. Here's the front brakes. I would actually say that these are acceptable to put on. They're not that much lower than the actual new brakes. This one's a little uneven on the edge here, on this part. These are the new brakes. So the new brakes actually come as almost 4 millimeters. And the brakes that were on the back are about, and it's going to be different on both sides because they're worn at an angle. So on the high end, whoops, on the high side it's 3 millimeters, and on the low side it's just under 3, 2.95. And then the front ones they're only down to 3.68 that way and 3.64 this way. Let's check both the pads here. 3.59 and 3.70. We just went over 600 miles on this bike, so that'll be a good benchmark. I think I'll put the new brakes on both the front and the back, and then we'll see how they go, and I'll just use these front ones here as spares, and we can carry them along with us. And it's very easy to take these in and out. You do have to remember to compress the caliper, so I don't know what the proper way to do that is, but I just went in and pressed in on the caliper with my pliers here. Just pressed. I don't think it needs a lot of pressure because it only has to go in a little bit. So I pressed that in there. Okay, and then the pads go in. There's a clip, and I don't know if you put it in the clip beforehand, before you put them in or not, but it seems like you can do it on the outside like this. So it just goes in here like this. Just slides over the actual pad. And the other one slides in here like this. It's not very tight. It's a little bit like you can hold it together, but I don't know if you'd be able to actually slide it down in there with that. Whoops. And if the caliper is not compressed all the way, you're going to have an issue. So I think it'd be better to take them out individually and put them in here like this. So here's the back one. Just kind of work it. There we go. I went behind it. And you can only go down so far because of this little hook that's here. It's going to press against the caliper housing. And then this one on the inside, And that went in a little easier. Okay, and then these holes are lining up. The holes in the pads are lining up with the hole for the cotter pin. And then the clip actually has a hole for the cotter pin. And then you just squeeze these together a little bit to put them in between each of these little levers here, the little metal framing. And then once you're on the inside there, just kind of slide it down slowly and work it down into there. It's not going too easily. Oh, I think I'm behind it. You have to make sure that you're in between. And there it goes. It starts to go down. You can push down towards, there's a centerpiece here. You can just kind of keep pushing that down. And you'll see the hole lines up here with the clip. And then the actual brake pad frame. And then the caliper itself. And then you get a cotter pin. And you just put it in from the back, which is probably easier said than done. Let's see here. There we go. And kind of wiggle it. There it goes. And now you just bend the ends of the cotter pin here, and that holds it in. So it's going through the pads and the clip, and that's all that holds it in. So it's an easy fix if you're riding and you do have a brake pad issue. If you aren't sure if the brakes are good, but they're feeling a little soft, and if you have the extra pads with you, you can easily do this. The pad on this one also just slides in. So there's enough space for it to slide in there. There's enough room for it to slide in there. There's enough room for it to slide in there. Come on, you fucking bastard. There's enough room for it to slide in there, but there's not enough room for the inside one, so that's where you'll have to depress the caliper. So I'm just going to go in here with these pliers and just press on that. Ow! Fuck. You fucking bastard. I'm just going to go in here with the pliers and just depress that a little bit. I'm trying not to press against the rotors at all. Again, not to misshapen the edge there. You'll have a little rub every time it goes around. So I put the camera down and pressed in pretty good with this with two hands because the wheel is off the ground here and it's just moving around. So I pressed them in pretty good. So that should go in now. Let's see if that goes in. And the hole for the cotter pin is here, so I match that up with the direction of the pad. We'll see if that goes in there now. Alright, so that was enough. That going right in there. And this one should go right in here. It's a little snug. Let's kind of wiggle it in there a little bit. Okay, so I just moved the wheel a little bit, which moved the rotor, and then it allowed me to wiggle that down in there more. So, learn as we go along here. So this goes in here, you squeeze that, put it in between the metal part there. And then you squeeze this part, put it in between there. And you're going to make sure you go right down the inside. You don't want to let these slide on the outside, because eventually you want the whole thing to slide right down on the sides of the new pad part. This one's a little tighter because it's the new one. There we go. So you just have to finagle it down in there. And then it slid right down and pushed down in that middle piece. You can also grab the pliers, grab that with the pliers if you wanted to pull them out. And then the holes should line up on the caliper housing, the brake pads, and the clip. So then I get the new cotter pin and slide that in through the back here. Of course, the spoke's in the way a little bit. There we go. Just enough clearance. Wiggle that a little bit. There we go. Then we just bend this right here. And it's just the longer side. You don't have to bend both sides. It's not gonna, there's no real way that this would come out if that was only the one piece. You just bend that longer part over here, and that's it. Getting this cotter pin in was a lot more difficult than I would have expected. It wasn't as bad on the back one. I think I reused the one from the back that was on there, and this one's a newer one. So it's pretty stiff, and I was only able to bend it a little bit. So I ended up squeezing the pliers right on the inside of the, tried to go on the outside, and there's just not enough. The span is too big, too wide, and the tire gets in the way of the right handle of the pliers, and you're also kind of, it keeps slipping off of the whole housing. So I went on the inside here, and onto here like this, and I squeezed it there. But you have to hold the pin in from the inside with your fingers, otherwise it pushes it out. So you have to push that in and then squeeze that at the same time. And then just watch you don't squeeze the brake pad. There's enough edge here that you can do it without squeezing the pad. I don't think it would really bother anything because the inside pad is just up against the metal here, so it's not really going to go anywhere. But just so it doesn't get bent or something. So be warned on that. I had a regular pair of pliers. I tried to do it with the small needle nose, and it just wasn't. It was just sliding off. There wasn't enough to grip. I don't think these small pliers have enough leverage with the smaller handle. It seems to work fine. And I hear a slight noise, but nothing. That doesn't look like anything's bent or that it's rubbing off and on or anything like that. So we'll see once I'm riding it what it sounds like, but it seems to be fine. Let's see the back one. Let's see if that makes any noises here. No, it doesn't sound like it's rubbing. That's it. Quick and easy and a pain in the ass.